We're coming into the last few weeks of what's been an active hurricane season, but November can also be an active tornado season for folks in the Great Plains. Meteorologist Tony Laubach has been involved in a few severe weather outbreaks this late in the year. Tonight for Storm Saga Sunday, he's taking us on one of those adventures. Tony, first I have to call you out. You have me tossing to you as the incredibly hunky science guy.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be a nice little thing to send Jake off with, but clearly he was not paying too much attention to that. But you know what? I mean, let's call it the truth, right? It takes something of that nature to go out and do what I do, I think, here. But the month of November, as we teased last week, has been a very interesting time for storm chasing for me over a couple of years span here. And we're going to go back to my first ever November storm chase down in Oklahoma that took place back in 2011. That not only gave me my first tornadoes in the month of November, but it gave me a little something else to shake things up.
Good morning. It's Monday, November 7th. I'm in Amarillo.
My first ever November chase started here at this lovely but very budget-friendly establishment after a late-night drive from Denver the previous evening. I was targeting southwest Oklahoma, and I got started early because I was expecting storms to fire early, and they sure did.
The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 870.
A tornado watch went up just after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by that time, storms were already firing across the region.
North of a severe warning storm, the hail marker on this bad boy is 3 1/4 inches.
That storm ended up being a hailer, dropping copious amounts of stones up to golf ball size, but it did try to spin up on a couple of occasions, but alas, no tornadoes.
It's kind of flirted with some wall cloud developments, kind of slowly getting itself together, but is the best looking storm of the bunch right now. There's another storm down Quakenado that's got a good hook to it as well.
But it would be that storm moving out of northwest Texas that would become the show. In fact, as I was playing in the hail, that storm moved into southwest Oklahoma and produced this, the first of multiple tornadoes it would drop into the evening. As I began to hear the reports coming from that storm, and with my storm not showing any improvement, I bailed on it and dropped south to get on the tornado-producing storm as it neared the town of Snyder. Unfortunately for me, my only chance to get ahead of this storm was this less-than-ideal road, a soft, muddy road that was being drenched from the rain. But I put my newly purchased all-wheel drive vehicle to the test and quickly got my money's worth as I emerged from the pouring rain to see this view to my southeast, a quick, distant view of my first ever November tornado. That tornado lifted fairly quickly, and as the storm and I converged on Route 49 northeast of Snyder, it spun up this tornado on the road immediately in front of me. I got behind it and watched the multi-vortex tornado churn in the field less than a half a mile to my north. The RFD winds around this tornado were howling and knocked over this tree on my route. Fortunately, I was able to get around it easily as the tornado began to dissipate right alongside me. Now, 2 tornadoes deep on the day, this storm dropped a third, much larger tornado to my northeast. This tornado was moving northeast into the Wichita Mountains, and I watched it as it churned over the peaks of the mountain range. Having to navigate the mountains, I lost view of the storm as it produced a couple of other tornadoes, but eventually catching back up with it in time to see the storm's final tornado of its family and my 4th tornado of the day. As evening fell, I rolled into a truck stop on the west side of Oklahoma City to edit video that would later end up as the Weather Channel's 3rd best video of the week.
Number 3, multi-vortex tornado, multiple vortices coming out of this cloud.
While I was sitting in the car, I noticed a slight shaking and saw the vibrations in the window of the truck stop. It was an earthquake, a 4.8 magnitude quake epicentered east of Oklahoma City. Just a couple hours after the conclusion of the tornado outbreak, Oklahoma was now being rattled by aftershocks from a 5.7 quake a couple of days earlier. So that's right, folks. I got my first November tornadoes and an earthquake all on the same day. And for storm chasers and meteorologists all across the world that were chasing that event, we've cunningly called that as a lovingly Quakenado. Jamie?